Rex McCarthy. Present. Kay Cobb. Present. Lois Jordan. Present. Craig Gill. Mayor Jackie Johnson.
First, just let me say good afternoon to everyone, and that what a pleasure it is to see you here present here this evening. It is indeed a real honor to have the privilege to sitting before the state championship Dixie Leagues of the state of Louisiana. And if it's all right, and if I'm in order, I would like if the champions would please stand and recite your names and what position you played.
Cameron, you start.
Cameron Williams, second base and pitcher. David from center field and pitcher. Caleb Hill, right field. Woodson Hodgman, right field. Chandler Richland, short, first, and pitcher. Roy Meade, left and right. Michael Easterling, second, pitcher.
And Thornton, pitcher, left and center.
Trey Middleton, third base and pitcher. Baylor Cobb, pitcher, third baseman, shortstop, and catcher. Chase Jordan, pitcher, catcher.
Alex McManus, first base.
You know, this is really an occasion today, and standing, waiting for the time to begin, I was very blessed with past Mayor Cobbs, who presented me with a news article that was presented some many years ago. Scott, would you mind just briefly running through that?
Okay, Mayor. Really, this came, Mr. James McLemore was the one that brought this, and it's an article on our first league that started here in Winsboro in 1953. And this, in 61 years, this is the first championship team for the state of Louisiana that we've had. And we are certainly very proud of you young men, and we are proud of our community for what you have done for our community. You are going to be the future leaders of this community, and we appreciate what you've done and what you have contributed to our community. And we know that you're going to excel in everything that you do. And we also know that you're going to do your best, no matter what, representing the city of Winsboro and the state of Louisiana in the World Series. We want to wish each and every one of you congratulations and wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you. If you stand, I'd like to present you with a proclamation from the city of Winsboro. City of Winsboro proclamation. Whereas the Winsboro-Dixie Youth Baseball All-Star won their first state championship in 64 years. Whereas the mayor, city councilman, and residents as well do congratulate the Winsboro-Dixie All-Stars on their 4th-0 record in the state championship tournament. And whereas they won 11-8 victory over West Monroe in the state championship game, thereby obtaining the Winsboro-Dixie Youth State Championship and advancing to the World Series in Longview, Texas. Whereas I, Mayor Jackie R. Johnson, along with city councilors and residents of the great city of Winsboro, proclaim Wednesday, July 16, 2014, Winsboro-Dixie Youth Baseball State Championship Day in the great city of Winsboro. Signed, Jackie R. Johnson, Mayor, City of Winsboro. Item number 1 on our agenda was proclamation for the Dixie Youth Baseball All-Stars. Item 2 is Resolution 14-0701, resolution authorizing the mayor to grant a servitude to Lakeside Greens and to grant the use of the state right-of-way. Property owned by the city of Winsboro.
Y'all want Julie to kind of explain that real quick?
Are y'all familiar with all of this? And you're probably not up to date. Mr. Al Ader, as you know, bought Winsboro Elevator, and after the purchase of, he's going to put $2.5 million plus in improvements in our community. He's certainly going to make this a positive impact, and we're very proud that he's doing it. In doing so, he has, if you'll all remember, at Winsboro Elevator, there was an old tin building that was sitting out there. That tin building was sitting on top of our water main. Superintendent Skipper is aware of that, and when they came in and started demolishing, they could not rebuild without getting permission from the city and from the state. For them to get permission from the state, they have to have an approval from the city to allow them to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to divert around the building servitude area, divert around that piece of property where they can put a control box in there that controls the trucks coming in, weighing the product, the grain, and carrying it around and putting it in an elevator or pod. All of this improvements and the diverting of the water mains will be paid for by Lakeland Grain. And there will not be any cost at all to the city of Winsboro. They're even going to, as when it's completed, they're going to beautify the area out there in front of it. So it won't be any kind of an eyesore to anybody or anyone thinks it is an eyesore. So we're, like I said, we're really pleased that he's doing this. And also, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead up in the industrial park where the pod is, where Winsboro Elevator had the pod. Lakeland Grain also got that area. That area was leased, kind of a sublease area from the city of Winsboro to somebody else, and then they leased it to Winsboro Elevator. And the city has not been generating any revenue off of that at all. Mr. Al Ader says, and he's a man of his word, and I have all the confidence and the faith in him, that he says that if he could get the lease on that piece of property, lot 16 and 17, I believe it is, and for a period of time, and if for $500 a year, and if for any reason that the city ever wants or needs that property back, to give him a 120-day notice. Am I stating this correct, Mr. Tapp?
Yeah.
120-day notice, and he would have all of his product out of there and make that available. He's also going to beautify that area, and he's going to make it a grain storage facility comparable to the one down at Wisner and out at Crover. You see how neat they keep theirs, and he will keep this one neat as well. The area that's surrounding that, he's not going to use all of that property in lot 16 and 17, but it's an easy way that we can go in without doing for the city having to pay for a survey to block the area that he's going to do. But he said that he's going to keep all of that neat and clean, and he'll keep it mowed, or he will let the people who are mowing our industrial park continue to mow it for him, and they get the hay off of it for the use of getting mowing the industrial park and keeping it in nice and neat condition. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. I think it's a positive move for the city, I'll tell you that. And I think once the city, if the city desires to allow this to happen, then they can move forward. Mr. Al can move forward to go to the state, and he can get permission from the state to allow the construction of that building to be on the city right-of-way property. But the way it's set up, the state of Louisiana donated that property to the city, and the city is the owner of the property. But in the contract, it states that if the state ever needed that property for any reason, we would have to give that property back to them. So therefore, that's the reason that they had to get permission from us first and then go to the state. Am I telling this correctly?
That's right.
Be more than happy to answer any questions, and have been in negotiations. The mayor and Skipper looked at this in detail. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you, he stopped construction. They went in and started the construction before they had, the state inadvertently gave them a lease to go in and do that, which was illegal for them to do. And Skipper stopped that the way it should have been done. He was doing his job, and I wholeheartedly support him on everything that he's done in this area, and to make sure that whatever was done up there was done properly. We could not, by no means, have a disturbance in our main water line up there and not have access to it. That's the reason they're going to divert around it, and they're going to put shut-off valves on each end of it to make sure that they can have a work access. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Skipper?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Or can I make a statement? I think
Sure.
that's more or less what, I went up there this morning just to get a view of what it was, and I talked to Joey Burns. She showed me where they were going to put that building. And then later in the afternoon, she called me and asked me if I'd call her tonight so they could arrange for the concrete to be poured tomorrow.
No.
That's not what I'm hearing from you. Is there
Well,
a line of
The
communication?
mayor can sign tonight, but, and Al can sign, but he can't do work on it without getting permission from the state.
That's correct.
and that is going to be his responsibility,
Yeah.
not ours. His responsibility to go to the state and ask for the right to be able to do this. He may have already gone to them and said, well, if you'll do this, if we get the town's permission, would it be permissible for the state to do that? And he may have that permission to do so. And it's, right now, it's going to be set up as a skid type building. Is that right?
Yeah, temporary building.
Temporary building
Removed.
in that area if anything happens to go through there. Down the road somewhere, you may want to put a bigger building, but that would have to come back before the council to make that possible.
Yeah, we have to issue a building permit since it's coming on our property. Now, so that'll all have to be taken care of.
And then Skipper will see that the state has given permission before he'll issue that building.
That's correct, yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, in our discussion, we will have our engineers to inspect and make sure that they do this to our specifications. Is that right?
That's correct.
Really, one of the areas that I was concerned with when we met was that he had sent one of his, a mayor from a surrounding area there that had some of his businesses located in that particular municipality. And he assured me, we went up there and he looked, he says, now, you see across the street there how good that area there looks? He says, when he gets set up and starts operating, that area there will look just as good as Wallace Single Chevrolet company does. And that was an area of concern of mine. And also up in the industrial park was an area of concern, because right out in front of where he plans to use that, and he promised to take care of it, is where Delta Community College is going to be located. And I was really concerned about there being a good atmosphere and a beautiful atmosphere in that area. And they have assured me that it would be, and I'm satisfied they will.
And I'd like to say too, and Tab, I don't know whether I should say this or not, but Al wants to be a partner, a business partner to the city and to the businesses in Winsboro. And I know all of you know that they are selling bonds at the present time for the $6.5 million from the state to start construction on the preliminary construction on the Delta Community College. And to do that, the Delta Community College here locally had to come up with some matching funds, about $400,000. And they have come up with all of that money with the land that you have donated for a parking lot facility, the value of that property, and their other contributions. And Mr. Al Ader personally donated $10,000 to make that happen. So he is going to be certainly a major player in this community.
What is your pleasure?
You asked for public comment before we go on our vote?
No, I'm the only public, sorry. Thank you, though.
What is your pleasure?
May I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 14-0701 to authorize you to give you that servitude to Lakeland Grain, to grant them that they're able to use that land that right away.
Okay.
I second the motion.
It's been properly moved and second. All in favor say aye. Let the record reflect that it's unanimously approved by the council.
Mayor, the second part was the lease of the 2 lots up in the industrial park. I didn't have it ready yesterday afternoon, but I emailed each one of y'all a copy of it. It states everything that Billy went over with you. What we would need to do, if we could take it up tonight, is have a motion to amend the agenda and add this ordinance. We're just going to introduce it to lease that property to Lakeland Grain Company. So we first need to amend the agenda to include this second ordinance.
Is there a rush for this? I mean, you still got 30 days and we've got a regular meeting coming up.
No, there's no rush. I didn't have
If we
it
don't have
all
a special
ready.
call meeting, I mean, it doesn't matter. I was just wondering.
Well,
if there's some deadline.
the resolution is a rush, because he wants to
We got
start.
that though.
But I just got them both together since,
Yeah, okay, I don't have a
just
problem
save
with it. I was
discussing
just
it again next Monday night.
Yeah, okay. Well, I move we amend the agenda to add the lease ordinance.
A second.
And second. All in favor say aye.
All right, and next we need to introduce the ordinance allowing the mayor to lease the 2 lots in the industrial park to Lakeland Grain Company.
So move.
Okay, second.
Second. Properly moved and second. All in favor say aye. Okay.
Good to go.
Thank you, Skip. Okay, resolution number 14-0702. Resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for 2014-15 grant funds for the removal of runway obstructions to the Winsboro Municipal Airport.
And what this is, I sent you a copy, and I apologize. We just got this information in late Friday afternoon and got the documents in yesterday afternoon to give to y'all. What this is, that the city council has already passed a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into the submittal of the grant request for this project in the past. And right now, what we're looking at, this is going to be a little bit of a change. What we're doing is, when we initially introduced it, it stated in there that the city would not be obligated for any amount of funds. And this one here obligates the city for $25,000, up to $25,000, for the purpose of negotiations to removal of those that trees and brush obstructions for the airport glide zone. And on top of that, I want to say that this right here is, all it's doing is expediting for the city of Winsboro to get the grant and for us to start the work on it. The $25,000 or whatever it costs is reimbursable from the state, okay? But the state wants to show a participation. We would be putting up authorizing the distribution of up to $25,000, but wherever we get that funds from the general fund, that money will come back in and it will go back into the general fund. And we, once it's all said and done, as I've told you in the past, I don't guarantee that the sun's coming up tomorrow morning. I just hope and pray that it does. But I will say that they've always stuck to their word, and I've worked with the state DOTD and Department of Aviation, the FAA on this, and they specifically say that there has never been a problem with that coming about for them not to be able to issue the funds. They have the funds available. It's a process that they have to go through. And Winsboro's not the only one that's doing it. They're doing this to every airport for the 2014-2015 application.
Those trees that we had were mandated by the state. When they came here, we had to clear out.
That's correct. That is correct.
Yes, to Billy, you stated, though, in your preface that something had changed. Originally, we weren't looking at any out-of-pocket. Now we're looking at $25,000.
We're looking at what the federal government and the state wants us to pay for the negotiations only. For the negotiations, I think I sent you a copy of that contract in there. And the negotiations is going to be up to $25,000. It could be $5,000, it could be $10,000, it could be up to $25,000, but it would not exceed $25,000. Once that is paid in a capital outlay fund, then when the money is recovered from the federal government and the state, that $25,000 will be added to it and returned back to the city, and the city would recover that money.
Is there a deadline for this? And I'll tell you why I'm asking is because we've not seen any current financials in quite some time, and $25,000 is a lot of money. I don't know what we got.
I understand exactly what we're talking about, but and I will say this too: even though that you commit to it, even though that you commit to do this process here, and for any unknown reason that we cannot afford to do it after it has been submitted, we can back out of it.
What process is that?
That is a process that goes through anytime we enter into an agreement to submit an application with the state, federal government, any of them, we have the right to back out at any point in time that we want to. That's with any of them.
How much money are they gonna put up, Bill?
The total project was about $80,000. Am I correct?
I think so, yeah.
Close to $80,000.
They're gonna put up about 60.
Right.
And then we're gonna make an application for up to 25, whatever we put in, and then we should get it back at the end.
That's correct.
We need a motion to adopt resolution number 140702.
Gonna do it again.
Yeah.
to remove obstructions from runway approaches.
Again, if you're gonna call for a public hearing, again, Mayor,
Shouldn't they?
vote. So again, are you gonna call for a public hearing before we make the vote, before we call it?
We'll have to have a public. No.
No, you won't have to do that.
Mayor, public comment, I'm sorry, comment, my bad.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Who
Yes,
would the negotiations be with?
Well, the engineers has a team that will come in and negotiate with all the property owners. They're the ones that will be in the total contract. And then they will bring in the negotiation team, like they do the engineering, construction, and design phase to make this happen.
So you gotta have engineers tell you to
Oh,
cut
yes,
these trees
indeed.
down?
Oh, yes, indeed. All of it's added, all of it is added into that $80,000. The engineering cost, the removal of the obstructions, and all of that is in there. And the negotiations is in there as well. But we have to temporarily put up that, up to $25,000.
So that would make it, instead of 80,000, it would be 100,000?
No, ma'am. It's just like he just said, that it's gonna be 80,000 total.
Total.
Yes,
Which
ma'am.
includes that $25,000?
Yes, ma'am, including the 25,000.
And that 25,000 will come back after
Yeah,
the
well,
process.
like I just said to start with, I don't guarantee that the sun don't rise tomorrow. Will rise tomorrow, but with all of my dealings with the Louisiana Department of Aviation and the FAA, once they tell you these funds are available, they've always stood behind their word. It's just like when we did the airport lobby. They were going to do 50%, and then they ended up doing the full $10,000.
May I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 14-0702, authorizing you to apply for the grant funds, remove the obstruction from the runway at the airport.
It's been properly moved
Second.
and second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed have the same right. Let the record reflect that Mr. Gill objects. Item number 4, ordinance number 964, introduction to adopt an ordinance pertaining to the leasing of the airport property.
What this is, it's, we've been in the negotiations of the loading pad, the original loading pad, and the open hangar with some. Brother George has been working with them diligently to make this happen. He's out of town tonight, and I'm just standing in for him. but Mr. Hutto Flying Service has agreed to pay $450 for the loading pad facility itself and the open hangar. Now, under our ordinance, it states with wingspan of 40 foot and under, you pay $50 a month for it. And you have capability of 4 airplanes. That's $200. $200. And anything over 40 foot, they have to pay $75 for. Well, you can only get 2 airplanes in 2 crop dusting airplanes under that hangar, as big as they are out there. So therefore, what has been negotiated is that Mr. Hutto is going to pay the full price for the hangar for the 4 locations and put up the full $200 and $250 for the loading pad itself.
Right, now this is the hangar that is sort of behind the office, or is this what?
No, it's an open hangar, the open canopy hangar, out in front of Lanny's operation.
Okay.
That's the last one that we constructed.
So, and he's not renting the shop?
No, he's not renting the shop. We're negotiating with somebody else to rent the shop, but that's something else that we're gonna have to discuss, because we can't rent the shop as is because of the safety issue. But we do have someone that's interested in it.
And again, this is just an introduction of it, and if y'all will take it up, not Monday night, but the council meeting in August. And it'll be advertised 3 times in the paper.
Move to introduce ordinance 964.
Properly moved. And second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Let the record reflect that it's unanimously approved.
I would like to say that this will revert back and he will pay back to July 1st.
Item number 5. Ordinance number 965. Introduction to ordinance pertaining to the transfer of property to William Wayne Waller.
That's that part up there behind Walmart,
Right.
behind the dealership.
It was and is my understanding that that money is to be placed back into the industrial fund. Am I
That's correct.
Should it state so on the ordinance? If we're introducing it, we could amend it later.
Right, that's correct.
So I would, well, I'll make a motion already. I would move that we introduce this ordinance with the amendment stating that the money goes back into the industrial fund.
And I can add that to it.
Okay.
And I'll bring it to Alice in the morning.
I'll second.
And the 25,000 will be placed in the industrial fund.
Industrial reserve fund.
Right.
It's industrial reserve fund?
That's correct.
Yes.
Industrial,
That's where it came from.
That's what I meant to say.
like industrial reserve.
Been properly moved. Do I- Second. Second by Councilman Kate Cup. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Let the record reflect that it's unanimously approved. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So,
No. Go ahead.
May I speak?
This is not on the agenda, this is a special call meeting.
Okay, but I just need to make one statement. It wasn't posted on the door again,
Which door?
on the outside of Jack Hammond's building where it's supposed to be.
We posted, this clerk posted, she posted at City Hall.
It's supposed to be posted here.
I'm just going to clerk.
But state law is wherever the meeting is held, it has to be posted on their door too.
It does, you're
It
right.
does.
I'll make sure let her know. So she can
And this
start
is the
posting on.
second time in a row that this has happened, that it hadn't been posted here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
thank you.
The only other thing I said, if you hadn't had an opportunity to go to the airport to look at that old metal out there, they are in the construction phase of doing the lighting at the airport. They have poured the slab for the generator, and they're going to be, that old stuff is in the way, and we need to do something with it. But we'll bring that up Monday night. And we don't, that'll be fine. I was just saying and make a statement, if anyone has not had an opportunity to go look at this stuff, you can do that between Monday night and now Monday night, I'll be more than happy to take it.
Move to adjourn.
Okay. I'd just like to clarify something, that our clerk is out with the pacemaker, and that's something that I generally check behind to ensure that they did what they do. But however, we will make a
See, I
special
brought
effort.
this up at the last
We will make a special effort, to ensure that it will not happen again. I will check on it from now on.
All right.